Good afternoon. Welcome to the September 18th, 2024 Oldham County Technical Review Committee meeting. It is 1:01 and we'll call this meeting to order. So my name is Ryan Fisher. I'm the Director of Oldham County Planning and Development. The purpose of the Technical Review Committee meeting is to review proposed subdivisions, zoning map amendments, and development plans before they go forward to the Planning Commission. This gives local agencies and utility companies represented here in front of you today, those that will provide services, the opportunity to review those plans, discuss and comment about the accessibility of services, and ensure all aspects of the development plans adhere to zoning and subdivision regulations. This meeting also provides adjoining property owners and concerned citizens in attendance the opportunity to ask technical questions of the applicants or agencies represented before you today. So we have 3 cases on the docket today. All 3 of these cases will work the same. We'll have the applicant come forward and give a brief presentation of their project. We'll then allow the agencies represented here in front of you today to provide their comments or provide comments of any agencies that were unable to attend that may have sent us comments. And then lastly, we will ask for any public comment. Just remember that this hearing is for technical questions of either the agencies represented or the applicants. So we try to keep those questions technical in nature. No decisions are made at this Technical Review Committee meeting, so any project that has to go forward to the Planning Commission for approval, all decisions will be made at that level. With that being said, if you'll just make sure that your cell phones are turned to silent or off, and if you have to take a call, just please step out of the room. And with that, we'll call the first case, which is TRC 24-012 for CNS Machine and Manufacturing Facility Expansion on Commerce Parkway.
Thank you. Mike Hill with Land Design and Development, 503 Washburn Avenue, Louisville 40222. I don't know. I sent you a copy of the plan. Is it?
Yeah, it's on there already. If you can log in, it's.
Oh, we need to be logged in here, I guess.
Technology.
These are the 2
Yeah,
that I have.
yeah.
You can bring up
Okay.
either, whichever one.
Great. Thank you. So this is the area we're talking about on Commerce Parkway. It's just east of Rocket Storage, just west of Watts Home Center. It kind of gives you an idea of the area we're talking about, kind of in between Buckner and LaGrange on Commerce. And then I'll go to the other plan that shows more detail. So this is our site plan. It's proposed, it's zoned industrial. We're proposing a 75,000 square foot industrial building, which is the darker shade, and then an area for future building addition located here. 2 access points on Commerce on either side of the site. One directly across from the electric co-op on the other side of Commerce. And then the other here is there's an existing gravel drive that within an easement that accesses utility substation, which will remain. So we're proposing the same access point where the gravel drive exists today, and that gravel drive will, in the future, come off of our new paved entrance. So we have maneuvering around the rear of the building for loading area, enter and exit through that eastern exit point, and then there's an office area in the front building where employees and any body visiting the site would come in this employee parking lot. We have 88 parking spaces, which is a little bit below the maximum allowed for the size building. Conceptually, we've shown how we're going to take care of our stormwater runoff with a series of catch basins and pipes through the paved areas that lead to a detention basin, which if approved conceptually at this level, we would go into detailed design of that detention basin and working with the county engineer to ensure that it's constructed according to regulations. The landscaping you see is conceptual in nature, and this plan would require a future landscape plan to be submitted and approved along with our site construction plans. So the details of those plantings would be submitted at that time. That's really it for the site. The utilities are readily available to the site, so happy to hear your comments.
All right, thank you. So Anna Barge, our senior planner, will offer planning and development comments.
So we only had 2 comments for this, was to provide information on natural features such as areas of existing trees and areas of steep slope. If there are no areas of steep slope, please note that. Please provide landscaping and lighting details when submitting a site plan review application to the Planning Commission.
And just for clarification, I know Mike talked about it a little bit, but this property and this use is zoned appropriately. So as long as there's no waivers or anything required from landscape, which he did talk about would be required at the time of construction plan approval, this property is zoned appropriately. So we'll go down to Jim Sillimans, County Engineer.
Okay. Yeah, so since the property and the land disturbance will be greater than 1 acre, of course, you're aware you'll be needing to get the Kentucky Division of Water KYR 10 permit for that, as well as the Oldham County Stormwater Management and Erosion Control permit. As part of that, we'll review the detention analysis like Mike stated. That typically, in accordance with our ordinance, includes the 2, 10, and 100-year storms. Since this discharges to the state right-of-way, I-71, they typically require the 25-year rain event also, so you'll include that. It doesn't appear that that you're affecting any jurisdictional waters. There is a blue line stream nearby, but it's just off the property, so if your land disturbance is within the property, it shouldn't affect that. Note 2 indicates that an encroachment permit and bond will be required for all work in the right-of-way. We would actually include that encroachment analysis or review with our stormwater quality permit, so there's not going to be a separate encroachment permit required for that. With regard to traffic, we spoke some at our pre-application meeting a few weeks ago. After looking at the Institute of Transportation Engineers data, it appears that a development of this site would generate, at the full build-out, just under 80 peak hour trips. That combined with the ADT, the vehicles per day on Commerce Parkway, would require traffic assessment in accordance with our subdivision regulations, unless your traffic engineer can show that those are off-peak hour, we'll assume that you'll need the traffic assessment. That's all.
All right, Matt Toller with GIS.
I mean, as far as addressing goes, we have enough numbers to give, but what is going to be happening with this east entrance? Is that just for deliveries and things like that?
Yeah, the eastern entrance is solely to be used by deliveries and
I mean, I don't know if we
vehicles
should-
into the site. Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about maybe giving that a separate address altogether just to keep it separate, because if you can't, I'm not sure if that would be wise or unwise. I don't know.
I don't know. It's all going to the same facility, the same sites, the same business.
I would just hate to have like 18-wheelers like come, well, I mean, obviously they wouldn't come to the parking lot for the office, but
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we can talk about that
We can
and figure
talk
out the
about it,
best
but-
way to go.
But other than that, I don't have any comments.
Okay.
Either of you? I know you don't.
Russ Rose, Oldham County Water. This is in the service area of the Water District, and we will provide service. Will the building be sprinkled? It will be, okay. And so shouldn't be a problem. I would note that if the entrances have to be cut down, there's a large 24-inch main out front, and we just need to talk about that if we need to maintain cover there. But other than that, no comment, no other comments?
Thank you. I do have two more questions, and I don't remember if we talked about this in prior conversations or not, but will this building be occupied 24 hours a day, or will there be times when the building is unoccupied? And you'll just state your name and address for the record for us.
Certainly. Darius Powell with East and Westbrook Construction, 4808 Fox Run Road in Buckner. We will be doing the design build management for this project. The owner has stated to us that there is a potential that it may be occupied multiple shifts, probably not 24 hours a day, but perhaps 20 hours a day, at least part of the time, at least part of the seasons.
All right, and the reason why I ask Keith Smith with LaGrange Fire is usually at these meetings, one of the things he always brings up is for a location of a Knox box in case it's not occupied 24 hours a day. And then, is there any sort of security as far as a gate going into that parking lot, or will that be open?
At this minute, it's planned to be open.
Okay.
We're open to suggestions on
So
that.
that'll just be another thing, if for some reason that happens to be able to provide access for emergency services. But, all right, thank you. Now, is there anybody wishing to comment, public comment regarding this case? Yes. Yes. State your name and address for the record, sir.
My name's David Bazanis, 204 South First Avenue in LaGrange. Just wanted to comment and say thanks, first of all, for reviewing this project. This is a big picture project for Oldham County from the Economic Development Office. We've been working with Mr. Steele and Ryan and Megan for some time now, and excited that he has chosen Oldham County to do this project. It's going to represent over 100 really great quality jobs, advanced manufacturing jobs. He's already talking with and trying to partner with our local school system. And so while this is an important project, like all the projects that come before you, this is has a little bit of a special piece to it, because we were in a pretty competitive environment with Southern Indiana, and fortunately Oldham County won out on the project. So we're really excited about Ryan moving forward and what this does for Oldham County. So thanks for your review, and we appreciate the project. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would care to comment about this case? All right. With that being said, we'll move to the next one. Next one is TRC-24-013 for Chlor Station, Section 1. We'll have the applicant come forward.
Good afternoon. Doug Schultz with Sayback Wilson & Lingo, 608 South 3rd Street, Louisville, Kentucky, 40202. We're here this afternoon to introduce Chlor Station Section 1 development. This is part of the overall planned neighborhood development that was approved in April of 24, and is all total about 500 total acres. What we're going to be looking at today is Section 1, which is about 28 acres plus or minus. And that's located on the specific parcels at 7001 Highway 329 and 6530 Delafield Trace. The subject site is to the east of I-71 along the Highway 329 corridor. This is the approved master plan from April of 2024. This is the specific section. Again, this is about 28 acres of the overall 500 plus or minus acres that were approved as part of that planned neighborhood development. This is just to give you a aerial view of kind of the space we're talking about on the north side of Highway 329, just to the south of Crestwood Baptist Church. This is our TRC Section 1 development plan. Again, this is a mixed-use planned neighborhood development. We're going to have a mix of uses between residential, retail, office, things of that nature. They're all kind of outlined in the color chart here. We do have some topography that we'll be working through. We did include on this section the roadway over here. That's to go ahead and get that infrastructure in as part of the phase 1 so that we're ready for the next round when that comes on board. I would like to show in here, we have a dash line, and that shows the difference between Transect 5 and Transect 4, and these are all part of the T&D standards that were adopted that we're using as our code. Like I said, 28 acres and around 3.73 acres of open space. This will be a traditional neighborhood design where we'll utilize alleys and things like that for a lot of the internal circulation for people accessing their private units and the backs of the restaurants, buildings, office, etc. I think that covers the majority of the big picture topics. Here you can see the master plan summary with the breakdown summary of what we're actually proposing here. This came a long way since we actually submitted the plan. It has a lot more information, and obviously, so when we're able to bring the next round in, we'll have all this information on there as well. But you can see kind of how it plays into the overall approved densities, unit mixes, and that type of thing. And at this point, we'll take questions and comments.
All right, thank you. So with that, Anna Barge, our senior planner, is the case manager for this, so I'll let her go ahead and start with any comments.
Okay, I'm going to go over the comments that I sent to y'all already. So on the plat, we need the names of all the streets. Right now, they're labeled Street A, B, etc. We'll need specific names. The parcels should have dimensions for all boundary lines. All utilities should be labeled on the map. The only one we're seeing right now is sewer, but on the plan we had, it had like overhead power lines, but we didn't see any of those actually on there. Typically, trees are not allowed in the detention area. We were told that y'all had a conversation with Corps of Engineers, and they said that that would be okay. So as long as that's okay, we're good. And then the areas of steep slope over 30% are not labeled. If there's no areas of steep slope, then that should be noted. Please add more details in reference to the location, height, floor area, and arrangement of proposed buildings, so we can better know how many, people are going to be there and all that. Please add notation regarding the location and elevation of the 100-year floodplain. Sanitary sewers, street grades, and other facilities should be listed. The number of parking spaces required and provided should be listed, including ILA space. The land needs to be updated with language consistent with the master plan, and I think this is something that we kind of discussed, that these are, you kind of mentioned it already, the different transects, so I think that's been cleared up. But if we can make sure we're using consistent language. And then this is something we were also discussing was where mail will be received by people, if you're going to do the cluster mailboxes, or like in Norton Commons, they have their own post office. So I'm not sure what the plan is there for people, residents, and businesses receiving mail.
All right. Jim?
So I'm going to go over just some larger scale topics. I'll generate a letter and provide it with some more detail. As you mentioned, there were some questions about some of those detail percentages and other items, that how it aligns with the overall T&D standards. If you could also include with that the community unit in Table 2A of the T&D standards, how it matches those percentages, that'd be great, just for and I think that's going to be more important as the core station develops into future sections. With regard to land disturbance, of course, you're well over 1 acre, right? So we'll be requiring the stormwater quality management and erosion control plan for the county and a KYR 10 permit from the Division of Water. It does look like on the previous plan you had submitted, not the most updated. I think it must have gotten frozen or taken out, but the proposed detention area is not shown. But that's in the area of the jurisdictional map streams. Anna mentioned the trees, and the way we've been, I guess, phrasing that now is it should be no new trees. We know that if you're approved by the Corps and the Division of Water to have a detention basin in an inline stream, we don't want you taking out the trees, but just don't plan on planting new trees. And to that effect, any jurisdictional waters, especially if you have inline detention, will require that Corps of Engineers and Division of Water permitting 401 and 404 with future submittals. The stormwater detention basin also will be designed to our ordinance with water quality standards addressed. We noted some of the road right-of-way cross-sections, the nomenclature on it, it looks like the way they're coded is with a right-of-way width and a roadway width, and some of them don't match. They're a couple feet off. So if you just verify, and when I say don't match, the plan to the T&D standards. And one quick question, Doug or Gant, on those standards, do they not standards, on the labels on the plan, it says base section. It'll have a cross section and then a base section cross section. Can you clarify what the difference is?
Yes, so we have the base section. That's the base section of the T&D standard for the right-of-way options that we have at the bottom of the T&D standards, I think like from page like 34 on or something.
Right.
And in the T&D standards, it allows for a certain amount of flexibility, and you see that it'll say right-of-way minimums. And so when we say base section, that's the right-of-way minimum that we were working with. And then some
Okay.
of them, we've added a foot more of space to get more verge or sidewalk or things like that.
Okay. I
So
think
we're trying to give the
clarifies-
base and let you know that it may not read exactly the same.
Okay,
That's
that
what I'm
clarifies what I was saying earlier about some of them not
Yeah.
being consistent because you're using that base and then modifying it. Okay, okay. We had some discussion with Gant the other day about the traffic impact study. So with the traffic impact study that was approved through the City Council and the Planning Commission, it noted that in the future, a traffic signal would be warranted at Dovefield Drive and 329B. However, it of course, doesn't clarify exactly when. So it also stated that all intersections will need further refinement as the development plans for each section are prepared for construction. So like at this time, when we get construction plans, we will need to have some kind of data from your traffic engineer indicating whether or not that intersection does warrant the signal yet. If it one way or the other, and that'll, of course, that'll come with trip generation for all these uses being incorporated into that. Kind of along the same lines, while we're talking about an intersection with 329B, that's a state-maintained route. The entrance to the north that's shown, that's a new entrance, will obviously require permitting or approval from the Transportation Cabinet. Certainly understanding that that right-of-way is currently a limited access right-of-way. I'm sure there'll be discussion on that. That's all for me.
Since there really is nothing like this in Oldham County yet, I think that for like the road names, like Anna said, I think we should sit down and try to reserve names for the entire development so we don't get into a situation where we're dealing with duplicates at, further sections down the way. And I think that it'll go a long way of helping us, or at least me, be able to do blocks so I can get an idea of like what the address ranges on these streets are going to be like. I think it'll just be easier if we just try to name them all, or at least reserve names for them, so in the future it'll be an easier transition from one section to another, and that way we won't run into any kind of problems with, if you're going to be like a theme like in the Hamlet, where it's all wildflower names or something like that. But since it's all mixed use, I think it'll be much easier for me to be able to sit down and actually number things out appropriately, so we don't have all kinds of weird numbering scenarios on these roads. That's the only thing I have.
Chief?
No questions or concerns at this time.
All right. Now we'll open it up for public comment. If anybody would like to come up and ask questions that are technical in nature, or Mr. Bazanis, we'll start with you.
It's me again, David Bazanis, 204 South First Avenue. This is a great docket today at TRC. I'm really excited to see all the special projects that are coming through, and just want to express the support of the Chamber and Economic Development Office for this development. We have a lot of great new high-quality jobs that are coming into the area between the investments made by Baptist Hospital and CNS Manufacturing, like you just saw, and a lot of those folks are going to want really good quality housing, and so we're very excited about how special this development is and what it will contribute to the growth of the county. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one. One request I have, if you all happen to have any more of these nice little books, Anna here, I gave her this project because she's young and just starting her career, so I figured if she got your section 1, she can just go with it the rest of her career. So she can have a nice book to learn from, and we appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Now we'll move to the third docketed item. TRC 24-014, Norton Commons Hamlet, Section 3. Start with our applicant presentation.
Did I get the wrong one, Brian? Here, nope. Which one you want me to go to?
Yeah, you might have to go back to the folder.
All right.
Go back one more. Is that you
Yeah,
right there?
That's me right there. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Matt Wolf. I'm with Sayback Wilson Lingo, 608 South 3rd Street, Louisville, Kentucky, 40202. I'm here today to represent Norton Commons and Traditional Talent LLC. With me today, we have our attorney, Mike Swansburg, ownership, David Toms and Ashley Porter, and then my colleague, David Sedler, in case you all have any other questions that I can't answer. If we can... Well, can I just scroll down? Okay, you're very familiar. We're just going to continue on with the Hamlet at Norton Commons. This is our last section, Section 3. You can see at the bottom of the screen, it's just a continuation of Norton Commons from the south, moving up. This is the county line here. Section 1 and Section 2 have already been constructed and homes are being built today. And Section 3 will be here on the west end side, along there outlined in red. Little aerial here to give you some context. To your right and on the east side is Section 1, homes already being built. Section 2, homes are now starting to come up and we're moving right along. You can see where we've outlined Section 3. Section 3 is going to follow that tree line, and what we're trying to do is preserve as many of those trees as possible and maintain the open space there in this area. Section 3, so you're aware, the runoff, stormwater runoff will be controlled and captured in both this existing North Lake here down at the bottom of the screen and then a new detention basin here sort of middle of the screen that I'm highlighting there. And then if we go down to the next is our development plan. And just as I said, this is nothing new. We're just moving forward with following the same development standards previously approved with the master plan. We have 62, what you're seeing here on the plan there, 62 single-family lots with over 35 acres of open space. What we're looking to do, and you can see it here lightly, this is the tree line that we are following there. So it's kind of highlighted how we've hugged against that and not interfered with it or disturbed it. A few standards I just want to reiterate and go over. Our single-family lots, they will vary from 60 to 90 feet in width at the building line, 105 to 140 feet plus in depth. We do have one lot. This is our estate lot. We'll be back here in the back. This is something you're similar to seeing elsewhere in Oldham County. It's over 5 acres, a little bit larger, but in case someone was interested in doing more of that family compound idea. Few setbacks that we're dealing with that we're going to provide. It's the same setbacks going forward as we did before. They will vary between 12 to 36. That just depends on where you are at in the hamlet. The side yards are still, again, 5 feet. The rear yard is 1 foot. And any street-facing garages, which we will have a few, only because if you'll notice at the bottom, we have front-loaded lots. Typically, we have the alley-fed lots, but this time we're going to have a few front-loaded lots, and those garages will need to be set back from the main facade of the house. Going forward, and which makes Norton Commons unique, and you are aware, all of our plans and building plans must go to our town architect. They review and approve before it comes to you for the building permit. A few things on utilities. I heard some folks were here. Water, straightforward. We're tying into the existing system that's already been built in Section 1. Sanitary sewers, we're already taking advantage of our existing facilities that have been constructed and will be extending. That treatment will go to the Height Creek treatment plant, and MSD has already approved our capacity. Stormwater, as I mentioned on the previous slide, will be handled both in this detention basin here and in this North Lake here to this side. Streets, we're maintaining the same street design where, in this case, we're going to have 35 and 50-foot right-of-ways and pavement widths of either 17 feet or 22 feet. Our mail system, mail delivery, we have a post office built and established in Norton Commons. That's more in the North Village, just across the county line, and that address is 6339 Meeting Street. And then lastly, you all have seen this table in the booklet. This just kind of captures, in a nutshell, in a summary of the overall plan. This is the last section. So 257 total lots was our master plan approved. We have 62 this go around. We're at just over 35 acres of open space there, as we pointed out. So this, our density at this time for this section alone is right around 0.99 or round up to 1. That being said, kept it short and sweet. Just wanted to kind of quickly go over it, okay? And if you have any questions for us, please.
All right. Thank you. So this was my case, and for the first time ever, I think I don't have any comments. So I don't know if I've lost my touch since I've
man.
become director, or you guys are just doing really great work. But I even tried to find a typo, something, and I couldn't find anything. So I have no comments for you.
Oh, good deal.
So
I've got a few. It's minimal, but a few. So you note in your note 9 that there may be impact to jurisdictional waters within this
Yes.
development.
Yes.
So you're fully aware that any impact would be permitted by the Corps and the Division of Water.
We will have that.
Yeah, of course, greater than an acre land disturbance, so you'll get the KYR 10 permit from the Division of Water and the Stormwater Quality Management and Erosion Control from our office. With regard to stormwater, you mentioned this. My review of the Section 2B calculations indicate that this has already been addressed or accommodated in those detention calculations. So as long as there's no change in configuration, and there doesn't appear to be, you don't have to submit any additional calculations there.
Okay.
And similarly, traffic impacts were addressed years ago with developments for this Norton Commons, so there's no additional need for traffic studies.
Thank you.
I mean, as far as the streets go, we'll just need to have some street names provided for these.
We'll provide that.
And all the open space, we're going to need to be able to, if you're going to have anything in there like a sprinkler or a gazebo or anything, we're going to have to leave space for those addresses for the future. So if you think that you might want to put something in there, just let me know so that we can plan accordingly. They'll be all addressed on the plat, just to facilitate those in the, in the future. But as far as like the trails, if you think that you might want to have something, just let me know so that I can have them record that at the time of.
Save a space and put something in there. Okay.
And then for this big 5-acre tract, that'll probably have to have its own name, or at least the continuation of a name, so we can leave spaces for that.
Okay.
And then this middle road in the between, like where lots 346, 311, 310, I know that when we had like Tansy Lane or Way, whatever that was sort of like an afterthought. So if we're not going to be able to, if those aren't going to front on that street, maybe just make a comment on the plat, or at least let me know.
Okay.
If we need to, we can address it just in case.
Like we
But
did the
just
last
so everybody's on the same page as those, because I know we did change that street name.
We did. Yeah, I do remember
Just
that.
to not have to go through
Yeah.
a re-recording of something small like
Okay.
that. But other than that, those are my only comments.
all right. I believe this is Anchorage Middletown, correct? So you don't want to provide any comments for them, do you? No. Okay. Okay. All right. With that being said, we'll open it up. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to ask any comments or Anybody? All right, seeing none. So in closing, if any of these cases that have been heard today have to go forward to the Planning Commission, any more public hearings, you will be notified as an adjoining property owner if you were notified of today's meeting. And if not, that concludes today's meeting, and we'll adjourn at 1:36. Thank you.
Ryan, we just need to submit by the